people who cannot sit at home, thank you so much for being here. So recently I have visited Mayan Riviera. We've done lots of things in there and I'm very excited to do a few videos. This is the first one. It's all about 4 really cool things you need to do in Mayan Riviera. Starting off right away with Xcaret. So while you're in Mayan Riviera, you have to, please promise me, go to Xcaret. It is essentially a park. It's an eco park, so there's a lot of animals, as you can see over here, really cute flamingos, a lot of like swimming, there's beaches, there's some food, you can do a lot of snorkeling outside and in really cool caves. I'm gonna show you basically what we did. Over here, gorgeous birds, just kind of, you can come close to them. Of course you cannot pet them, but you can be very close to them. It's very unique in the sense that I'm from Toronto, Canada, so we don't have all of these birds and flamingos and things like that. Over here is the map and even kind of like a 3D replica of the map. At each point it tells you where you are located. In the beginning, honestly, you will be confused. You'll be like, where do I go? What do I do? But somehow, even though we were confused and we kind of winged it, we didn't have a plan, we still ended up covering most of the park by the end of the day. Even though it is a ginormous park. So Xcaret, this is the main park. There are different other parks that you have to pay extra for. Like there is one that's, you do more active things like zip lining. This is not it. In here, the most active things I think is just like snorkeling and a few boat rides that are really cute. Over here we are in the bird sanctuary and oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. I highly recommend it. Birds are kind of all everywhere and they are the most unique, cool looking birds. There's gorgeous waterfall over there. You feel like you're in, I don't know, fairy tale. Not to be cheesy, but it's true. But you do need to be mindful of your time. Overall, we were not rushing, but if we were any kind of slower, we would not be able to see most of the park.
Oh my God. Ilya. Oi. I don't know. I have doubts. Ilya, you're gonna have to save me! You gotta save me from the chicken!
Look how adorable this lady was sitting on her babies. I guess they just hatched and she's still warming them up. So cute. And this is also a perfect photo opportunity. You can go get on those rocks and just take a few shots. And just everywhere, honestly everywhere in the park is just so grandiose. Like Mexico is definitely very lucky to have so many beautiful nature spots, and this park highlights it all. Over here is a butterfly garden. In all honesty, I've seen better even over here in Canada. I found that butterflies are kind of far away, so you have to like walk a lot to see them, which I'd rather if they were kind of, if the space was smaller but I could see them a bit more, I could kind of be closer to them. Over here they have the food so that they come and they eat and you can get a bit of a closer shot. Here's a manatee. This is a different section of the park at this point. You do have to walk a lot, so do wear very comfortable shoes. Over here are people swimming in the kind of like channels. Over here are stingrays. So as you can see, all of these are for a Torontonian, for a Canadian. Amazing to see in the real life. Gorgeous turtles. It was always my dream to actually swim with these turtles. I know somewhere in the world you can't do that, but over here you can see them, and that's also plenty for me. That's excellent. And over here are the babies, so they're in kind of separate tanks. And here's a section with dolphins. They were just kind of playing with the balls. I think there are shows over here. We were not there for the show. I think it either ended or we had to wait, but it was still really cool to see them kind of swimming around, playing with the ball. Very adorable. This show was so much fun. And by the way, if you look at the map, you will see kind of the times that these shows are happening. So these guys climb up this pole and then they descend on a string that's tied to their leg. I don't even understand how that works, but it was so very cool. Highly recommend watching that show. Our park admission included a lunch buffet. I do definitely recommend you do that. It wasn't too expensive and it was a very nice buffet. All in all, the price of this kind of day trip with the buffet was around $200 Canadian for each of us. So yes, not cheap, but also this is a whole day of an amazing park. I did not regret spending that money whatsoever. Here's a really cool experience also. It's a boat. You sit in a boat and it takes you through a bit of a cave. And then at certain times there are more shows. Over here is a horsey riding entertainment, and over there was like a whole party that was just a kind of street party that was walking down the streets of Xcaret and with music and the band. Very colorful and fun. Absolutely loved this. I'm gonna call it church. I'm not sure if this is actually church, but it's beautiful. There's like water over there at the altar. Never seen anything like that. And here are just the streets of Xcaret section. We're heading now towards the theater for the evening entertainment, which is their kind of extravaganza show. But just walking around here is really cool. And here is the beginning of the show. Even on the way to the show, you'll see people dressed up and kind of greeting you. The only challenge with the show is that it starts, I think it starts at 7 o'clock, maybe 6. And the challenge with that is that because after a whole day in the park, all you want to do is just kind of relax at this point, but you also want to see the show. Trust me, you do want to see the show. It starts with, they gave us these like little candles and we lit them up, and it was like a really nice unifying element. I really enjoyed that. The premise of the show, as I understood it, is to show all different parts of Mexico, all of the different kind of cultures and their different songs and styles. It is an amazing show. It went on for at least 2 hours and we loved every minute of it. It is an absolute must. If you're in Xcaret, you have to stay for the evening show. They also show different games, traditional games that Mayan people were playing. Here is a game where you're not supposed to touch the ball with your hands and only use your hips and try to score into the circles over there. And this game, absolutely fascinating. It's a hockey with fireball. I was in awe that this is something that's even possible to do physically, and it was so entertaining. And then there was a lot of costume kind of dancing and of course singing, and everything is just so immaculate and so well done. So yes, definitely Xcaret is an absolute must when you're in Mayan Riviera. And now we're heading on to our second must-do thing, which is visiting Playa del Carmen. So this is a town, this is sort of like the capital of Riviera Maya. Riviera Maya is more of a bigger area, right? So it's a town, it has a lot of shopping. As you can see over there, it has like Starbucks and stores that quite frankly a lot of them are very American, but that's not to say it doesn't have that like Mexican charm. Over there is Bershka, by the way, which is like a Spanish chain and clothing chain. And yeah, there's just walk around, shop. a lot of food places, a lot of bars. I specifically, when I was here before, we specifically would go to Playa del Carmen for bars and like a nightlife. If you know, want something more other than whatever is at your all-inclusive resort, it is definitely a very lively city. Number 3, Cozumel. So this is an island that you can take a ferry from actually Playa del Carmen. So we are just right there and we are taking the ferry. Ferry took about half an hour to get to. The price of the ferry in Canadian dollars was roughly $17. In American, it will be something like $12. The ferries are actually really gorgeous. Look how beautiful and fairly new they are. There are about 3 different companies. We just picked whichever one was first. But here's my face. I am here. I actually don't get seasickness, and this was one of the worst rides ever. It was so shaky, even though the water was flat, so I don't understand why it was shaking so much. And what's funny is it was shaking on the way back too, but we went on the lower level so that it would shake less. So just basically go to the lower level. So here we are at the Cozumel. Cuz Coffee over here is really well known for their peanut butter coffee. But first we went to get our car. We pre-booked it. There's lots of companies. And over here the gentleman was explaining to us what to do. We're basically gonna go around Cozumel. That area that he was kind of crossing out is not accessible. So basically half of the island is accessible by car. And over here I went back to the Cuz Coffee to get that peanut butter coffee. And I just wanted to sit and look at, you know, the life of Cozumel. It took about maybe 10 minutes. They were actually pretty fast, even though they said that it will take longer, but no, it took fairly fast. And here is the first try. It was amazing. I highly recommend, if you're in Cozumel, go to Cuz Coffee. It's right there. It's as soon as you get off the ferry. I never had a peanut butter coffee, but it's just so smooth, so yummy. They basically blend coffee and peanut butter together, and it's just so yummy. I don't know why that's not a thing everywhere. It really should be. So here is our Jeep. Very excited, just taking a video of it to make sure it's in good condition, and we are gonna go and drive it around the island. So in terms of renting the car, right away we could tell that the car was not the newest. It was kind of shaky, but it served its purpose. That's all that matters. But it's definitely, they don't maintain it as well as really they should. Here is kind of the beginning of the trip. There's only really one way you could go. On the right of the ferry, and then you basically do a loop counterclockwise. There are lots of different hotels on the right of the road, but we straight kind of, and by the way, those hotels also have a day pass, so that if you want to just spend a day at all-inclusive, there's a bunch of places that you can go and just, you know, get a day pass. We specifically got tickets actually from the place that we were renting the car for $15 per person to Punta Sur Eco Beach Park. Here we are heading for it. It's a bit of a drive, and then you are met in the parking with this gorgeous lighthouse. You can, by the way, climb up. We didn't really do that, but definitely something to do if you would like to. This was extremely hot at this point, and we just wanted to enjoy the water and the sights, but maybe not so much of a climb. So here is the view. Here's my family, my mom and my brother. If you look at the map, this is the very tip of the Cozumel Island. Definitely worth a visit, definitely very beautiful.
Crocodiles. Well, where are the crocodiles?
There's a turtle moving right there.
Oh yeah. I guess no crocodiles, but that's a good thing.
There was also, right by the lighthouse, by the way, there was also a free museum that if you want to read a bit about the history of Cozumel and about the specific point, you can. Crocodile skulls, wow. But if you follow the signs that say beach, you get to go to the beach. Over here we are at the beach. It's very nice, very beautiful. Actually one of the best ones in Mexico that I've been so far on this trip. The thing about this whole beach experience is that the people who are working there's restaurants, and they will try to get you to go to the restaurant together with the beach. But we just wanted to enjoy the beach, which was, oh, it was a challenge because they kept on trying to get us to, eat at the restaurant. And then on the way out of the eco park, we saw this huge piggly. Piggly is really cute. It was interesting to see. I don't know what was happening. And now if you look at over here, we are kind of continuing with this road. No signs, just kind of continuing with this road. And if you notice, on the left there's another road, right? So long story short, you are naturally kind of inclined to take that road because that's kind of what exits the eco park. Long story short, I'm gonna pause it over here and tell you about a bit of an incident that happened to us. Long story short, that there were police officers and they stopped us and they said that this road is only for the bikes. Nowhere before did we see that sign. They said that there is a sign, but they even showed us how the sign should look like. I'm not gonna argue if there was or there wasn't, even though there was two of us kind of watching over the road. If there was a sign, it wasn't very prominent. That I can tell you for sure. For sure. We did have to pay a fine, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And as a tourist, I want you to be vigilant about where you're driving, and I highly suggest that you do not drive on this road, the one that's right by the ocean, the one after the eco park. And then the rest of the drive, we kind of stopped over in a few places. They all have a beach and a restaurant across from it. We didn't really want to eat. We were okay. We had like a big breakfast. And the whole drive really took us about 45 minutes. It's a fairly small island, but it is really beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, the incident with the stopping over and paying the fine kind of put a really big damper on our spirits. Yeah, we got to the town, returned the car. Honestly, we had the car probably, we could have, had the car till about 4 o'clock, but at about 12 we were already done, and we just kind of got back to the mainland. Do I suggest you go to Cozumel? Yes, I think it's a nice trip if you know what to avoid. And it is a very nice island, and it's a very pretty island. So yes, I would suggest, but I would also make sure you are aware of certain things that I already mentioned. And here is our ferry back. As you can see, this is a different ferry that we took on the way there, which is okay to do. You totally don't need to buy the return ticket. You can if you want to, but that kind of locks you in the time. It's best to just buy one way each time. So now let's go back to the mainland, and this is Puerto Aventuras. This is a town that, to be honest, I never even heard about. This is a town that our all-inclusive resort was like right there. It's about 15-minute drive from Playa del Carmen, and it's a really cool town. I highly recommend it wherever you are staying in like Mayan Riviera. I highly recommend you check this town out. So first over here was a really nice art gallery. We talked to the owners. They were so lovely, kind of like a family couple business. Very nice. And then we continued walking. Really, the town is all about, it's kind of like a marina / restaurant. So over here, when we got to this town, just kind of exploring it, I actually didn't know much about it. And when we got to explore it, it was actually so much fun. So over here, manatees, totally for free. You can check out manatees swimming. This is an aquarium, local aquarium, and they have tours. You can also, of course, take part of the tours and go into the aquarium and things like that. But we didn't need to. We were just kind of chilling and we just saw them feeding manatees. I absolutely love manatees. I think they are the coolest creatures ever. They're very, very friendly. They're sort of like, I think they're called sea cows. They will not harm humans. They are very adorable. So definitely quite the experience. If you have never done it, I suggest you do that. But as we kind of continued walking the town, we saw lots and lots of dolphins, and the dolphins were so hilarious. Just look over here, this guy was taking, I don't know what that is, some kind of a buoy and just throwing it. That was so funny.
Uh-huh. Hi. Hello.
Again, this is totally for free. We were just walking, just, yeah. I'm guessing this is part of the aquarium, but it's also kind of open to the public. And again, lots of shopping, lots of restaurants. If you want some food outside of your resort, this is definitely the place. We did not go to any, but it looked definitely really adorable. And I know a lot of people go over here in the evening specifically to enjoy the dinner. And I'm sure you have seen, maybe even in your cities, these kind of umbrella ceilings. It's always fun to do. It's always fun for me to see them. So colorful, pretty, love it. Then this area also had a farmer's market with some local fruits and vegetables. Not a big one, but definitely had everything you can probably need. And over here is a really nice kind of ladies shopping with different clothes and jewelry. Again, if something maybe you are missing that you didn't pack, you can probably find it here. So these are the 4 absolute must places you need to check out when you are visiting Playa del Carmen, so that you are not just spending time in your all-inclusive, but also get to do a little bit more. We stayed at the Hotel Catalonia, Riviera Maya, and in the next video, I'm going to walk you through our resort and kind of just general review of it, so make sure to check it out if interested. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.